The Chiefs are back-to-back Super Bowl champions.
Yes, is Rashee the most valuable receiver on the Chiefs roster?
Ooh.
Nick.
Yeah, I think so. I think for what he can bring overall to, the offense, it looks like after the surgery, he's out there running full reps, and it doesn't look like his speed is diminished. His leg's probably a little bit stronger. That type of injury, there's always thought that maybe he's going to lose some speed and some flexibility, but he has worked tirelessly hard in making sure that he's ready. He's ahead of schedule. He's going to probably be full go when it comes to training camp and maybe the mini camp next week in Kansas City. But to me, yeah, I mean, I can see Xavier Worthy, being that guy too. But I think everything last year went through Worthy. I think things are going to go through Rice and Worthy this year. Rice was on pace to have I think we calculated like 13 or 1,400 yards receiving, probably at least 10 touchdowns. He was coming into his own before the injury. So for me, he as we saw last year, when he went down, the wide receiver position struggled at times. And Mahomes really had to sacrifice quite a bit of his body to work with some guys that weren't quite, that still needed some reps in the Hollywood Brown injury. So again, if we're going to look at it, Rice is the one guy I think you can't be without in this offense. He takes this offense to another level. He's proven himself, and he's come back from his injury, and he seems like he's overcome the off the field stuff, which is extremely critical. When you got a young receiver who's had success, a rookie year gets a Super Bowl ring. Without him, they don't win the Super Bowl. They don't even get to the playoffs without him, in my opinion. That's how solid he was when we got to Super Bowl 58, and how strong he was there, or 57. 57? Yeah, 57. Or 50. I don't know. I can't keep track. 58, whatever number it was. And I think he's the most critical component on offense for Patrick Mahomes, in my opinion.
I'd just say yes, he's the most viable wide receiver that's on the roster right now. As you can see, when he went down, the receiver room kind of struggled. You had Xavier Worthy doing what he was doing, but it was nothing like, because he was on pace to be probably one of the best, on the pace to be one of the best wide receivers in the league. He was unstoppable, unguardable. And when he got injured, you see that the production in the wide receiver room went down. So I just say, yeah, he's got to be the most valuable wide receiver in this room. His size, everybody else in the wide receiver room don't have the size, the length and the speed that he have well put together like that. So yes, but you had to say, Coach.
I definitely agree. The most valuable player, when Mahomes messed him up, when Mahomes failed being clumsy, ran to Rashee Rice, man, you know what I'm saying, knocked him off. You can see the production of the offense, like it went down, like dramatically. But when Rashee Rice out there, he's a mismatch problem all day, man. You put that man inside or on the outside, he's going to get the job done, and he's very shifty. And the Chiefs didn't have that. The Chiefs, it was a struggle. Like it was like as y'all can see, like. I like what Kareem said, Worthy. Kareem, yes, Worthy is a deep threat, but when you got somebody like a Rashee Rice that can go out there, is not afraid to go across the middle, is not afraid to make the big catches. Yes, he was missed tremendously.
Yeah, this is a tough one, because when you say most valuable, I don't know that he necessarily. I think 2 shows ago, I proclaimed Rashee is probably going to be like in the top 5 in terms of wide receiver statistics for this season. If he's healthy the whole year, doesn't get suspended, right. I truly believe that he was really kind of on the cusp of greatness.
Yeah, he was.
And he got hurt. Now, the true test is when he's cleared for contact, because again, a lot of straight line stuff. He is cutting, that's always important. But, once they have the pads on, cleared for contact, and is able to do those things in that setting, then, you'll feel a lot better about it. So I'll go a different way here. And in terms of most valuable, I think it might be X, because if we're going to return to the deep passing game and really putting pressure on defenses, and defense being afraid of, Good point. Say if it was like back in the day, Tyreek, and maybe X can have that same effect on defenses, then he all of a sudden becomes now again, it's splitting hairs. I got you. X may not have the same numbers that Rice does, but in terms of getting back to that kind of down the field, challenging defenses, scaring the hell out of them, I'm going to go with X in this.
Hey, you know what? Real quick, I'm going to piggyback off of Lou real quick. Lou, that's a great point, because if you look at it, the Chiefs didn't have nobody to stretch the field like X did. X was a guy who can go out there, stretch the field, and open up the lane for Rashee Rice under the middle. So that's a good point, because, like I said, with Tyreek Hill left, the offense took a slight decrease. So by Rather coming out there, it opened up so much more for Rashee Rice.
Yeah, speaking of top 5 players, that was the next question. Luke.
Yes, you have my answer. So let's go next. Okay, so can Rashee become a top 5 receiver in the National Football League, Nick?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, again, we're still waiting. Everything falls on the suspension. Just update everybody. There's 2 cases against him. One for the traffic violation, and there's a civil suit that's been filed as well. Neither have gone to court in Texas. So if for some reason those things don't happen before the start of the regular season, either one of them, and there is a conviction, a plea deal, or a settlement, it's very likely that Rashee Rice will play the entire 2025 season, and then we'll be having this conversation in 2026, which probably is going to be a good thing for him. He stays out of trouble. He's been out of trouble ever since. Maybe the 4-game suspension is lowered to a 2. Time has passed, kind of similar to what happened. So to answer your question, yes, if he plays the whole season, I think statistically you're going to see him in the top 5 in almost every category.
Exactly.
Yeah, I have to say that as well, because I think he can be the not even top 5. I think he'd be number 1. I feel like the kid can come out here and put up the 4s. Don't you turn your head like that. I feel like the kid can come out and not even be in the top 5. I feel like he could be number 1. Yes, I know everybody going to say, this person, that person. But hey, Rashee Rice putting the 4s on him was on his way to be the top wide receiver in the league. So I have to say, yes, he could be top 5, maybe number 1. Not even maybe. I'm going to say a yes to a number 1 receiver in the NFL. And there'll be a straight fact.
Man, if you don't calm down with that nonsense, man, like Nick stated, if the man play half a game, bro, and remember the Chiefs offense is like this. You're not gonna get those many touches like that. Remember, Rashee Rice is a yak guy. He's a yak guy, first of all, and the Chiefs spread the ball around to multiple receivers. So he's not gonna have that number 1, you know what I'm saying, stack. You know what I'm saying? So for me, it's this: could he be one of the best receivers? Yes, one of the best receivers, but a top guy, number 1, definitely no. That's a big no.
Rashee Rice would be number 1 in Cincinnati. Great way to bring it.
Lou already answered his question, so we're going to go ahead and
whatever. Yeah, I don't want to repeat myself. That's like 3 shows in a row I'm talking about Rashee. So.
Yeah, we're going to go ahead and get to the next question of the day. So I know I said number 1. That's why I worked you up, because I was bringing it to the next one. Go ahead, Lou.
Is Rashee more talented than Justin Jefferson
Hell no.
or Jamar Chase?
Wow. I'll take this. I will say yes.
We already know the answer.
I feel like
actually, if I can like tap my fellow members on the panel here, we all secede our time to you, Hensley. Go.
I would say yes. And this is the reason why, right? This is the reason why I know Jamar Chase, and you got Jefferson. I probably look like the crazy man up here, but hey, if you put number 4 out there, you're coming out the second round, man. The kid came out here, with blazing, mind skills, came out here to playing very well. He took like Nick said, the Chiefs won the Super Bowl without him, and. Yes, he's more talented than them. He got more rings than both of them. So I would have to say yes. I think the kid is more talented. Yeah, I feel like when it's all said and done, we will look back and say, yes, we've seen Jefferson. Yes, we've seen Jamar Chase, aka Tuna Can. But hey, Rashee Rice is going to be one that probably be the best wide receiver when it's all said and done out of those three.
Let me put some reality into that statement. First,
I'm just saying,
there's one thing that's an absolute certainty in my mind. When all three of these guys are done playing football, Rashee Rice will have more Super Bowl rings than the other two.
Yeah. Well.
Now, does that make him the best of the three? Listen, I think Jefferson is one of one, and I think Jamar is one of two. I mean, I think if you look at their overall production on the field, if they avoid injuries,
Rice, baby,
they make the plays. I think Rice would be. If we go back to the previous, if we go in the top five, yeah, that would be a pretty good company to be part of. Jefferson, Chase, Rice, in any order you want to look at it. And of course, Henson's going to say number one. But I think he needs a full season away from the injury to really evaluate if he's going to be that guy. Now, here's the bigger question.
You know why I said it, man. You know why I said it.
He's your boy.
Hey,
careful.
Go ahead, look.
And he's gonna, if he has a great season, he's gonna want to get paid, and that's gonna be a huge problem for the Chiefs to pay Rice and Worthy. That's not going to be an easy thing for the Chiefs to pull off, especially if these guys want $30 million a year.
If they're worth that money, that's great. That's a great problem.
It's a great problem to have, but it's a huge problem for Brett Veach. If they don't sign these guys,
odds are they would. If they both reach the potential that the franchise believes they can reach, I think there's 100% chance that both of them don't return.
Yeah.
Or that one of them doesn't return, and there's a really good chance that neither of them return. So, it's just a hard thing to start talking about.
Keep drafting receivers,
but that's why they keep drafting receivers every year.
So listen, hell nah, bro. Because let's look at the Kansas City Chiefs offense. They don't target one player. Jamar Chase was a player. He was the number one guy in Cincinnati. Justin Jefferson was the number one guy in Minnesota.
You're just
what I'm saying. He said more talented. You talking about more talented? Hell no. Not a chance. Not a chance.
See what the kid can look.
Rashee Rice can't take on double teams, bro.
He said
with a safety over the top. He's locked up, bro.
Now you talk about
Jamar Chase is the dog, bro. He's the dog, bro. He's the man, bro. Who can stop Justin Jefferson, bro? Really, who can stop Justin Jefferson when they hot? Who can stop Jamar Chase?
Hold on,
Crown guy, rookie of the year. Listen, Justin Jefferson broke Randy Moss's record. He broke Randy Moss's record, sir. Randy Moss's rookie record, sir. Hands down, man. Come on, man.
Who stopped? You said who stopped both of them? You said who stopped? You said who stopped both of them?
I'm gonna say Specs did it. I'm gonna say Specs did it. Specs had great coverage.
It was one guy that stopped. It was one guy that stopped both of them guys.
That was all Specs. Shout out to Specs, man. Defensive scheme.
Back again.
I haven't seen. Honestly,
scheme, man.
Every time I watch the Chiefs play, I don't think Spags has ever taken a snap.
No, but Spags is coaching them. Spags is coaching them. Damn it, Spags is coaching them real well.
But again,
simply, I believe that if you polled all the 32 GMs and these three guys were in a draft, that Rashee would be number 3 on 32 of their cards.
There you go.
Again, that's no slight against Rashee. That's that these are the two best in football, and quite frankly, at some point, they're going to be on an all-time list of best receivers. So again, it's no slight against Rashee, but these two guys are definitely more talented. Does that mean they're going to win more Super Bowls? Absolutely not. But in terms of talent and probably production, those two guys would get drafted. Now, you may have some guys take Jefferson over Chase. Some guys take Chase over Jefferson. But I almost can guarantee maybe Veach, just to not piss the kid off, might move him up to number 2. But the other 31 GMs would have it, some form of Chase, Jefferson, and then Rice.
Ruben, you chill, Ruben. Thank you, Lou.
I understand all that. And everybody, the reason I said, he's the most talented, because he's the only one that went up against the menace, the AKA put on the two deuces, and the Kid Rock, Trent McDuffie. in practice and still did the numbers. And,
we're talking about practice. We're talking about practice. We're talking about the Chiefs practice that knows this dude. We're talking about Chiefs practice. You basing this numbers off of Chiefs practice?
Mike has got to laugh. But
Chiefs practice?
Like I said, man,
Practice.
Nobody else.
Oh my gosh!
Rashee Rice can come out the locker room and say, "Hey guys, look at the diamonds on my hand. Do you guys have it?" No.
He's gonna have one.
Oh my God! We talk about Chiefs Kingdom practice, gentlemen. He said he beat McDuffie in practice.
Hey, Hence.
Practice.
Do you know who else could do that? Do you know who else could do that? McCall Hardman. So is he better than those guys? Okay.
Yeah,
Ruben, do you agree with your boy? He said practice. Chiefs practice.
That's a little different standard.
Oh my gosh, man. Come on, man.
All right, next. Let's go.
3 rings.
All right, no argument question. Go ahead, Luke.
Oh man, these are. I'm telling you right now,
he's talking out the backside, boy.
All these questions are in the mirror in Hence's bathroom, and he has a picture of Rashee underneath it, and he just repeats it to himself every morning while he's brushing his teeth, and he's looking up at that, looking at okay, Triple Crown, he's better than those guys, he's Hall of Famer, all these rings.
Look at him.
What are we doing?
Look at him.
Lou, I don't know, Lou, man. I don't know, man.
Hey, y'all want me to take the question there? I would say yes.
By all means, yeah.
I would say yes.
I can't wait to hear the answer.
I would say yes. I think the guy will take last year he was on path to do that. He was on path to take the Triple Crown and some. I look at this kid, man. I've seen that, when they first drafted him, I was like, what the heck? Then I started watching the tape, and then I watched the man in practice of one training camp, and I was like, man, who is this for putting these fours on people? And then when he came out there and said, hey, I know we had Travis Kelce, but I'm that guy. And he was on that way to be that guy last year. So I feel like this year he's going to say, I know I got all this suspension around me. If he do get suspended, he's still going to come out and take the Triple Crown.
Nick, half his season gone. Half his season's gone. Half his season gone.
Chance if he misses 4 games.
You're going to have 400-some yard games, sir.
This is good. This is going to be like a seminal moment in this show's history. But I think I'm going to have to agree with Coach at some points here. Is that just because of the way the ball is spread around, and so I don't think Rashee's going to get nearly enough action to be
that means Travis Kelce's not playing, nobody playing but Rashee Rice. So I'm like,
again, not taking anything away from Rashee, but this is evidently these questions have been teed up for Hence to dominate the show. So
Hence been drinking a house party Kool-Aid. I
can't wait to see what the next question is.
I'm gonna tell you.
So you said no, Nick. I know Nick ain't said no. Nick always give you a B, maybe an A. So I think Nick gonna say it's possible.
The next question is
if he's not suspended, can he win the Triple Crown? It's gonna be tough.
We're friends, sir.
Man, that's even worse.
Listen, I love the kid. I listen. No one's rooting for him more than I'm with you.
Yeah, man.
But yeah, I mean, Crystal makes a good point. Yeah, they did draft Royals. You got Royals.
Royals are nice. Royals are nice.
You got a lot of mouths to feed. That's what makes it a little bit difficult. Now, if the Chiefs were, if he was playing for, let's say, a different team, like let's say the Broncos or the Chargers, he's definitely their number one. No question about it. He's a guy that, if he's the featured guy and he can handle double teams, it'd be just fine. The good news in Kansas City is there are other weapons on this offense, and that's what makes his numbers are going to increase. So that means, there's a possibility he could win the Triple Crown, but he'd have to really stand out and step up and play all 16 or 17 games this year.
Even though he's a tight end, Travis always had the best chance of doing that as a Kansas City Chief.
Yeah,
I don't
agree.
think
I agree.
anybody else. I mean, Tyreek to some degree, where he got up there in catches a couple of years when he was in Kansas City.
Yep.
But in terms of the opportunity and the red zone presence and everything else, and just the fact that, you know, Patrick being so locked in with him, he always had the best chance. Again, even though he was a tight end, he came close to those types of statistics. And if you look at the top pass catchers, maybe 10 years, but let's backdate it to like 2 years ago and then going 10 years back from there, he's up there with every wide receiver. So he was probably the one that had that chance if it was going to happen for a Chiefs player. But I appreciate you throwing that in there. Hence, you know, this is your time to shine. So
that's right, man. Ice on the cake, man. That's that house party Kool-Aid, boy.
I think he will. I think
the next one is going to have something to do with bow ties, I bet.
Yeah.
No, go ahead. This is the next one. You know, go ahead, Lou.
Was all said and done, will Rashee be considered one of the top receivers in Chiefs history alongside Dwayne?
Yeah, what, you know, you forgot Otis Taylor.
I love Debo. You know, Tyreek, of course. You know, he's got to be up there. Yeah, I mean the Chiefs. I mean, in terms of wide receivers, I mean Otis Taylor was kind of like the first one, but even he never, because of the era that he played in, and even in terms of among his peers, he didn't get nearly the targets some of the best receivers from the 60s.
He still should be in the Hall of Fame
in the AFL. So the Chiefs, you know, it is kind of a small group. I mean, hell, you could throw Stephon Page in there, and 90% of the audience probably hasn't even heard of him. So
I'll be one of them.
But he certainly has the opportunity. Now, again, he's only played one full season, so maybe we pump the brakes a little bit on it. He has a chance if he's held. If he plays 10
so
years,
you're telling me there's
City,
a chance.
He's played 24 games in his career,
right? I mean, if he plays 10 years in Kansas City, he's got every opportunity.
Yeah.
Absolutely, he'll be up
there. He will have more yards and touchdowns than Debo.
Exactly,
pretty close to Tyreek.
Yeah, and again,
but I'm still going to put Otis Taylor number one, no matter what.
The list of quarterbacks that he had to suffer through.
Oh my God!
It's just God bless him. God bless him.
It's amazing how Bo was so successful.
I'm just trying to figure out now. Debo, I can see him passing Debo because, like I said, like Debo, him neck and neck. Because Tyreek Hill just had that crazy speed. He just had that speed. It's crazy.
Wow,
that's yard. That's yak.
Yeah.
That boy get that slant. It's a done deal. You dig it? But nah, I can see Rashee Rice going out there like making it very interesting down the stretch in his career.
Way to go, Crystal. That's right, number 83 in your program.
Yeah, I got a signed mini helmet of him somewhere around here.
I would say, you know, when it's all said and done, I'll say yes. If he does stay around that long, gets it done and stay out of trouble, have a clean slate from here on out, I feel like the kid can come out to be the best wide receiver in Chiefs history.
Yeah.
When it's all said, I know they have.
If he plays through the Patrick Mahomes era, I think so. I think he's got that chance.
Yeah, he would definitely. Yeah, it's a big.
But she's got too many weapons, though, guys. They got so many hands.
Yeah, but the weapons are going to be thinning out. The weapons are going to be.
They haven't paid a wide receiver in this era. They haven't paid a corner in this era. So it'll be interesting to see who those guys are going to be. I mean,
Royal, Rice, Worthy.
You know, again, we got a few years to kind of see how Rice's career goes, how X's career goes. But Cuffs right now, you know, again, that's going to be a big ticket.
Once Trace,
and that'll be a litmus test for sure. That agent's going to have to earn his money.
Kareem, what you drinking? Kareem said Worthy is better than Tyreek Hill. He said he's been saying it. Well, not right now. Not right now, sir. You over there. You tipping over there, boy. You tipping over there.
Okay. I'm gonna come to his defense slightly here.
The agent of chaos is coming.
Yeah, no. I think Worthy adapted to this offense a lot faster and was extremely productive in year one as a receiver.
Way to go,
Tyreek
John.
really had to kind of grow into it, and so did Worthy to a degree. But, long term, who's going to be better? You know, Tyreek's still, got a lot of statistics. And Worthy, was the savior of the offense basically last season. So that's an interesting conversation to have in 2 or 3 years from now. As a first-round pick, Chiefs will have him for 5 years. So at the end of year 3, let's have that conversation. But I think there's a chance.
And again, you say what you will about Tyreek, but for him to make that transition where if he played wide receiver at all, maybe he did it wherever he was his last stop. Is it West Georgia, whatever?
I don't think he did.
Because he was, because at Oklahoma State, he was a running back, he's a kick returner, whatever. But for him to turn into arguably, in that 4 or 5 year span, the top wide receiver in the NFL, that just doesn't happen.
No,
it just doesn't happen.
And
when
he was very unique too. Tyreek Hill was very unique too, man.
And become one of the best or the best in the league.
Yeah, man. Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think Tyreek Hill did something that's never been done before. Now, Kareem, you got a point, Kareem. You're saying wherever he came in, he's an official wide receiver. I get that. Great speed. The young guy's talented, right? But if you look at what Tyreek Hill did and for him transition to a special team guy / running back into the man he is today, and then he just took flight, man. Once that route running was in place with that speed, it was over. Like there's nobody that can defend a Tyreek Hill for real. When he's hot, Tyreek Hill's a different beast.
And a lot of times
he's a different guy.
Even though the straight line speed is one thing,
but Rashee Rice is way better.
The suddenness that he would close that space between him and the defensive back and then break it off where you got no chance at trying to cover him. He's just one of one. And, you would have wished it would have worked out. Who knows, how this whole thing would have gone. But that was just one dude that was just one of one.
Worthy's going to have to learn how to break tackles more. People don't understand how strong Tyreek Hill was and how low to the ground he was. And a lot of his yards came on busted. He broke through tackles. He used his speed. He had a lot of power, and Worthy doesn't have that quote unquote late power that I think Tyreek had. Not speed, but I'm just talking about raw power to break through defenders.
Oh, he was sharp, muscular too, man. Muscular. Like if you look at for real, everybody compare. Like some people say he's like Debo. Debo is nowhere near like Tyreek Hill. Tyreek Hill,
Debo is probably about 4 or 5 inches taller.
But like he don't got a separation. He's physical, but Tyreek Hill took that and just ran with it, man. It was over.
Taller. Yeah, Debo is much more of the kind of like the big body wide receiver. Right. He's probably closer to Rice than. Debo, I mean,
it makes
that
sense.
Kind of body.
Rice is more built better than all three of them. Tyreek Hill is built like a gremlin. But when it's all said and done, we will all have this all said and done. I think Rashee Rice was having it had to be
Dense Todd. We have some more. We have some more imposters here. Some bots have entered the chat. Dense Todd.
Hey, Crystal Lee got a good point. Andy Reid transformed Tyreek Hill, man. Andy Reid, man, he's the greatest head coach, man. Head coach.
The story with Hill was, when they drafted him, Andy was talking to him in training camp, and he said, "Can you do anything else?" He goes, "Yeah, I can run routes." And that was it. That's what started the whole process of getting him out there. And he started running routes in training camp and in the preseason games, and did all the punt and kick returns, and got his legs speed up, and understood what it was like to play in the NFL. And then they just start throwing the ball more to him, and then they start throwing the ball deep plays, and
that dude,
go back to that pass that Patrick Mahomes made in the exhibition game in Atlanta when he threw the ball 70 yards in the air. Tyreek Hill just ran underneath it like it was nothing.
Guys, Tyreek Hill, like I said, the power he has. We know about Deshaun Jackson from the Eagles. Like he was real fast, but he didn't have that power, that break tackle speed. Like he can stop on the dime, man. It's so much that Tyreek Hill can cover. Yeah. Like, if you really look at Tyreek Hill, man, you still got to put safety over the top. That's why people put that shell defense for, like, going against Kansas City. They use the shell because of Tyreek Hill. They still do that in Miami.
I think Deshaun and X have a lot more in common than those two. I think that's
exactly.
Similar body type and whatever. But again, X showed some things down the stretch where he was going, got some contested catches, was able to shake some tackles.
That bomb in the Super Bowl had 2 guys on him.
It'll be interesting to see what his development is over this off season and going into the year, because I mean, he really has a chance. He really does, because of the fact that he's got these other guys. If Hollywood is right, if Rashee is right, X is going to and Patrick starts launching them again. That could be interesting.
Yeah.